called Goa. So that's even more commendable. So if you want to become a businessman, then you will treat that business as your own. So obviously you will feel a part of that company.
Right? So I do not believe in attrition. But yes, when you take an employee in, irrespective of what policy, he comes with an expiry date. Because his capabilities will match you in the environment till a certain length of time. Post that, either he moves out or you ask him to move out or you move out. Because you cannot carry old capabilities all through your life. Has that answered the question to some extent? Yeah?
Sir, I'll just add to this. I came here with a strategy to give short answers. So I'll just say one thing to answer your question. Change is constant and good.
Manufacturing industry. So strategy should be in what percentage it should be there?
Okay, there's no straight answer to this question of yours. So as you rightly said, in service industry, the focus obviously remains to be the customer. So there is no doubt about it. But if you ask a percentage to be put on this, then it is again it is where you want to be. So sometimes it would be 100% customer, sometimes it would be 100% strategy. There is no 50-50 about it. So it's in service industry, of course, the paramount thing is the customer, because that's where the entire focus is, and especially if it is enterprise business, even more, because you live and die with your customer. So as simple as that. As far as manufacturing is concerned, it'll be more of both. It will be there. You can put a ratio of maybe 50-50. So maybe strategy and the customer focus goes hand in hand. That's my view. I mean, the other experts would want to add.
Rightly put by Preetham. But I would say that even in manufacturing, customers are important. Across industries, I think customers are important. So your strategy is built upon, to an extent, upon the customers, because at the end of the day, they are the one who are going to give you the revenue. And like I said, well, why is everybody in business? Everybody is in business purely to earn money, right? To grow, all right? So to grow, you have to have happy customers. Happy customers result in the company doing well, and so that's how I would say the strategy invariably lies towards the customers. But again, the focus being towards the customers with your entire I would say your marketing, your branding, your manufacturing processes all put together, having their individual strategies, all culminating into your customer being happy. So that is what I would say. So it's very difficult to put it into percentile, but it all boils down to the customer, whether it is service, it is manufacturing. So we are all consumers at the end of the day. So that's where I think it will be. Thank you.
Amazing, and all of us are now like wow, this is it happening. But Mr. Vishal is in a hurry to go. He has one appointment to catch up, so he's just requested us that we can continue with the discussion a bit. So I'm just giving a bit of a halt to this thing, and if we can relieve him from the.
I would request Mrs. Gayatri Kulkarni to present our token of appreciation.
Monopolies are still existing. However, monopolies are not existing in product form, but in technology form, monopolies are still existing. I mean, you talk about, Apple is one of the, Apple, there is something called as disruptive innovation. I think Apple is an apt example of disruptive innovation. First of all, Sony was an example which had Walkman. Even today, a Sony audio system is supposed to be one of the best in the market. But not today, nobody buys a music system. Everybody would like to carry an Apple iPod. So somehow, if you even talk about, now there is absolutely no 100% monopoly, as in there is no company which will say I have a 100% market share. But today, if you go out in the market and if you have to buy a music player, a portable music player, which you can carry it along wherever you go, the first thing that would come to your mind is an iPod, right? However, there is a price sensitivity to iPod. It will not be cheaper and cannot fit everybody's budget. But however, if first thing in your mind is an iPod, however it has, which means it has a high recall value, so somehow it has created a monopoly, at least in your thoughts. So I think monopolies still exist, however, there is no absolute monopolies. But yes, because of technological advancement, there are certain companies where by the virtue of there being superior products, they still enjoy market share. Maruti had about 60-70%, it has come down because there are other players which are catching on. But however, Maruti still can be said to be a monopolistic company, which still holds about 40 to 50% of the market share.
In the segment, so yes.
But so there are like, if you take some, FMCG, so then how should one sustain that monopoly or the strategy that like there are more than 20 rivals, so what strategy should one implement so that he can be a leader? Not in own monopoly but be a, leader.
Company product to product. So that's a very valid question you have raised. So leadership strategies do exist and they will differ, and if we start discussing that here in this forum, I think it's going to take us a long time. But as a concept, if you see, I mean, as Ankit was trying to say, that monopoly does exist, but it is not something that can be locked in a locker and kept it that way for the rest of its life. Like Vishal was referring to, that an employee comes with an expiry date. Similarly, is a product, right? So that also has an expiry date, and that also would slowly fade away. There's no guru mantra which would say that, boss, this is your strategy, go ahead and lock this and you become a monopolistic player. If there was any such mantra, then everybody would have been a monopoly.
Xerox, right? Xerox. So it has a strong brand. लोगों के दिमाग में बैठ चुका है. Like education institute can example, but like I am the strongly branded and equally giving quality education. So yes, monopoly is there. Like first of all, anyone would like to go for ads, right?
About a year back, the strategy was always price, okay? But price, not to reduce the price, but what value adds you could give to the price. That is, your long distance calling, your ILD calling, that, you could package it in a different way and sell. So those were strategies of most of the companies. And when I'm talking of most of the companies, say a few years back, you only had about 4 or 5 operators. Today in Maharashtra, you have close to 7, or you have probably about 7 operators now, right? So the whole scenario has changed. So the strategies have changed. So suddenly, the market leaders like Airtel, I would say, or Reliance for that matter, who have a huge market share pan-India, they never got into a price war. Okay, they had their own. They stood their own. Okay, so you had suddenly new operators coming in, and suddenly offering per second billing. So the whole strategy changed. But and it was a winning strategy because the new companies who came and started really capturing the local markets in a big way, eating into the pie of the larger operators like probably Bharti or Reliance for that matter. And slowly these two large companies, they kept on holding, that no, we have a different strategy and that's working for us, so we'll continue. So we'll not get into the price game, which is the strategy of the other companies. But slowly over a period of time, even these companies came down to per second billing. So strategies change. It is situational. It is as per the market demands, market trends, basically. So that's how it is. So it is subject to various factors. You really can't say what is the best strategy for. And every company has to equip itself and look at this as they grow. As the market changes, as the environment changes, or I would say as the market grows and competition comes in. So that is the key, basically. So I hope that answers your question.
And secondly, monopoly is not good.
Million, and 70% of the population are in rural. There are 638,667 villages, and now companies and sectors are crossing urban borders and proceeding towards the rural places. So, in case of business strategies, how it shifts from urban population to rural population, or it is customer oriented, or in rural case it is strategy oriented.
It's about 1.2 or 1.1. Anyway, don't look at your notes. Anyway, that is just to put you off.
Sir is saying a few lakhs were added a few seconds back.
You know, but the issue is that today, again the rural sector, if you look at different part of our country, the aspiration of a rural sector is different. Let me talk about the state where I was born. In Kerala, when a marketing guy looks at Kerala, they look at Kerala as one metropolis. Starting from Kasaragod north right up to Kanyakumari, there is no differentiation in rural sector and urban sector. It is taken as one metropolis. Because whether a guy is living in a village or he is living in a town, there are very few cities in Kerala. So their aspiration and expectation for anything, whether white good or FMCG good, anything, it is similar. So there is no differentiation there. But maybe there will be a little dissimilarity if you go to places like the famous Bimaru states. You know, there may be a little difference what a guy in Delhi wants, what a guy in Ghaziabad wants, or what a guy in Itawa wants. You know, there may be a little difference. But this is actually narrowing down. When I was interviewing some of the prospective candidates for the new batch, one guy came to me. He is an agriculture person, and he used to be selling agricultural implements. So maybe he has joined, I don't know. So he told me a very interesting insight into the buying tendency of people in the rural area. He said they will always buy a TV or a fridge because it cannot be shared. Whereas they will never buy a tractor or a farming implement because it can be hired or it can be borrowed. I didn't know this because I was telling him, I was telling him that my theory होता है अभी तो नरेगा शुरू हो गया तो हर फैमिली में 10,000 कम से कम आमदनी होता है and there are so many other projects प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना तो आजकल the cash component of income in rural sector is increasing so they have got more surplus cash or available cash to buy things so I said lot of people must be buying farming implements तो मुझे कहते हैं नहीं farming implement कोई नहीं करे लेकिन वो टीवी फ्रिज घड़ी motorcycle ये सब खरीदते so there is no standard answer that is what I am trying to say you will have to if you are posted as a territory manager in Jharkhand your way of looking at the problem will be different and if you are in Bareilly it will be different because the way people look at those things will be different whereas if you happen to like the other day I was traveling to I think Allahabad I met a guy who was getting posted to Kerala. So he's a North Indian, but getting posted. So he was asking me this question. I said, I can't give you an answer because I was only born there. There is a cultural mistake. But you'll have to go and learn there or learn from your colleagues. So the aspirations are different. There is nothing you cannot, there's no yardstick, there is no benchmarking. कि ऐसा होगा, rural है तो ऐसा करो, urban है तो ऐसा करो. It really doesn't work. Because today people are seeing TV में, or if you see TV serial, they are only glossy pictures. कोई गरीब का घर दिखाता है कोई TV serial में. So they are used to all that thing. So the aspiration, the only thing that is missing may be money. If they have got money, they also want to buy a Skoda car. That should they go for the good old Mahindra Jeep. I mean, so let us not look at solutions here, please. Nobody will be able to give you a solution to your problem. They can give you only suggestions. ऐसा हो सकता है. But you are the guys who will have to go and struggle. If you go and